here are the results of my pattern testing a Müller H2O set against a ported Carlson Cremator set. Now the UFO is missing here because it's screwed into my gun. Anyway, we got decoy passing, UFO, so short, medium, long, close range, medium range, long range. Now we've all seen Joel Strickland, YouTube handle Surviving Duck Season's video on testing chokes, and I'm the kind of guy that has to try everything for myself. I take everything with a grain of salt until I have tasted that salt. So, on all these, I will show you, the Müller is always going to be on the left, and the Carlson's is always going to be on the right. Now, I shot these at 20 yards and 40 yards. We'll start with the close range first, but here is a life-size dove target that I found, and I penciled in the bone structure for the animal. That's the lethal bone structure, I should say. But that's how it's going to start out. Müller's always going to be on the left, Carlson's always going to be on the right, and then the dove here is for reference. 20 yards with federal 7.5 1 1/8 ounce just target loads. So at 20 yards, yep, I got a dead dove in the center of the pattern. I might have a dead dove on the fringe. Now we'll go over to the Carlson's. Close range. I definitely have a dead dove in the middle, and again out towards the outside I might have a dead dove on the fringe, but you can see everywhere there's a little gap in the Carlson's that a dove might be able to squeak through. Müller always seems to throw in just a couple pellets to help fill in that pattern. But looking at these, Müller's concentrated about right here, whereas the Carlson, it's wider. So if you want to throw a bigger pattern, Carlson's is the way to go. But that being said, I mean, there's still pellets all across the paper. Okay, again we have, this is 40 yards, again 7.5 shot federal, Müller decoy, Carlson close range. See, on the Müller, just about anywhere I throw this dove, he's gonna have at least a couple on the vitals, except maybe down here. That's a little sparse. And right here, that's gonna, let's see, Müller always seems to throw in one pellet to help fill in those gaps. Going over to the Carlson's, yep, there's some gappage up there. This one here, just about anywhere he goes here, he's dead. He might squeak through here alive, but up there, yep, him dead. Now, you're probably thinking, why are you testing a close range choke at 40 yards? We can't screw in, screw out your chokes on the fly with birds coming in now, can ya? If I'm expecting them to come in over my decoys, but they're flaring at the edge of the spread, that's the shot I gotta take. 20 yard passing, federal 7.5, 20 yard, 7.5, Carlson medium range. Again, we see much tighter pattern with the Müller, looser pattern with the Carlson's. Now, that's not a bad thing. I prefer the looser pattern, especially at close range here. That gives me more fringe to hit that dove over the Müller. Like, I gotta be spot on with the Müller. But just about anywhere there's pellets on this one, I have dead dove. The Müller here does not have much fringe. However, where there is fringe, there's more pellets at that fringe. So again, there's dove. Go 40 yards, 7.5 Müller. 40 yards, 7.5 Carlson. Carlson has a nice, even distribution of pellets across the paper. And for dove hunting, this is actually the choke that I'm going to use this season. We do have one gap here. Here's the Müller. Like I said, in the Müller, it always seems to throw one more pellet into those gaps. See, it kind of helped close up that there, but he's still squeaking through there. Whereas this pattern, about the only place I can see for him to squeak through is about in the same spot. Here we go. Federal 7.5, 20 yards UFO. Federal 7.5, 20 yards, Carlson long range. Very tight pattern on the UFO, as expected. You are absolutely dusting that dove. Not a lot of fringe to speak of. Carlson long range, again, it's more spread out, a lot more fringe, a lot more room for error when those doves pop in close. .40 yards, Federal 7.5 UFO. 40 yards, 7.5 Carlson long range. Here we have a pretty even distribution of pellets across the paper. Little gappage here, little gappage here. But compare that to the Carlsons. Gappage, gappage. Little bit of a gap there. But throw our dove down so you can get a scale. If you saw my pattern stand video, there's that entire test I just showed you rolled up. Throw that in the closet somewhere and forget about it until you're like, oh yeah, I patterned those. Okay, I also tested Boss number 4s with 1.5 ounces payload. So there's your Müller decoy, your Carlson close range. Now, I'm going to use the dove again because I don't have a life-size duck, but these papers are 30 inches by 30 inches nominally. If it patterned real tight, then I zip the paper off tighter so that way I could get more shots out of a roll. .40 yards, Boss number 4s, Müller decoy, Carlson close range. Boss number 4s, 20 yards passing, Carlson medium range. 40 yards, Müller passing, Carlson medium range. yards, boss number 4 UFO. 20 yards, boss number 4 Carlson long range. yards, boss number 4 UFO. 40 yards, Carlson long range. Okay, now what I've noticed on my pattern testing is that between the Müller and the Carlson, it's not a completely fair comparison. Joel Strickland found that non-ported chokes pattern better than ported chokes, and I'm testing a non-ported Müller set against a ported Carlson set. But from what I see from my targets, if I had a non-ported Carlson set, I'd be getting basically the same performance I would with the much more expensive Müller chokes. I like that the Carlson chokes are a little more open. They give me a little more fringe pattern. I am not a very good shotgun shot, so I need that fringe pattern to help me out. But I will say, I do like the densities of the Müller. I'm sure when I get more experience, I start knocking birds out of the sky to the point where it's kind of boring. Then I can switch over to the Müllers, and I got to be that much more precise. And it'll probably give me less cripples too, because I have more pellets on target. In addition to lead ammo for doves and bismuth shot for ducks and geese, I also tested some lead turkey loads out of the Carlson UFO versus a .665 constriction Carlson turkey choke. I did that at 25 and 50 yards. So here's the UFO with number 4 Browning extra distance turkey shells. Browning BXD number 4, 25 yard Carlson .665. There's no pellets up here, and I put the dove there again for scale. So, number 4, Browning extra distance, 50 yards UFO, and Carlson's .665. Like I say, this Browning load out this far was just absolutely pitiful out of both these chokes. But what I'm seeing from both tests is the Carlson's was actually a little better. But that being said, I switched over to Boss 2.5 ounce Boss Tom loads, tungsten. And at 100 yards, I took a shot at a turkey that turned out to be a laser at 107 yards. I thought he was at 60. There was a saddle, so I couldn't see the land in between to tell me his true distance. But I had a 30-inch spread at almost 110 yards. It was just, if the turkey was right there, my pattern hit low right at his feet. Pretty dang impressive.